You're not losing her because of what you did. You're losing her because of what you didn't do, but she'll never tell you what that is. She'll never say she wanted your hand on her back. She'll never admit she craved your touch after a long day. She won't confess how much she longed for a massage, a look, a word, something small but real. Because the truth is, 99% of women want these things, but they'll die before telling you. Why? Because the moment they have to ask, it stops being special. This is the game most men lose. And in this video, I'm going to show you the rules, the things she wants you to do without asking. Are you ready to see what most men are too blind to notice? Then stay with me and pay attention. Before I walk you through the 7 things she secretly hopes you'll do, but will never say out loud, take a second to subscribe. Let me know what city you're watching from in the comments. I read every comment, and it shows me how many men out there are done being in the dark. Now let's get back to the story, because what you're about to hear is the difference between being unforgettable and being forgotten. Thing number 1, give her a massage without her asking. It sounds simple, too simple, but trust me, this one is not about the massage. It's about something deeper. When you walk up behind her, rest your hands gently on her shoulders and begin to ease the weight off her body. You're doing more than touching her skin. You're speaking a language women are wired to feel but rarely hear. The language of unsolicited care. She might have had a terrible day. She won't say it. She might be overwhelmed, drained, overstimulated. She won't show it. But the moment your hands begin to move, slow, intentional, quiet, her guard drops. That wall she didn't know she was building starts to fall. And here's the key. If she has to ask, it loses its magic. What she truly craves isn't a massage. It's a man who sees beyond the words. A man who notices her shoulders are tense before she does. Who understands that silence can be loud. Science backs it up. Physical touch, especially something as nurturing as a massage, lowers cortisol, boosts serotonin, and releases oxytocin. In other words, it calms her nervous system while telling her, you are safe here. And no, this isn't about making a move. This isn't foreplay, it's for trust. Because once she feels cared for in this small but intimate way, she starts to relax with you. Not just physically, emotionally. And that is where true intimacy begins. Think of the message it sends. I see you, I care, and you don't have to earn it. For many women, that's more erotic than anything you could say in bed. She'll never ask you to do it. She doesn't want to feel needy. She doesn't want to feel like she's asking for affection. What she wants, what she's praying for, is a man who offers it, without her having to speak. It could be 10 minutes after dinner, a quick shoulder rub while she's working, a gentle touch on her lower back while passing by. It doesn't have to be long, it just has to be felt, because what she remembers isn't the act itself, it's the feeling of being noticed, chosen, cared for. So the next time you see her sigh or rub her neck or stare off into space, don't ask, don't wait. Just walk up and place your hands on her shoulders and let your touch say what words never could. I've got you. Let's move on to thing number 2, because what's coming next might be even more powerful and even more overlooked. Thing number 2, hug her, but not just out of habit. Hug her like you mean it. Here's the truth. Most men don't realize the difference between a hug and a holding. One is casual. The other? It's emotional safety. When you wrap your arms around her and let the moment linger, not rushed, not distracted, you're creating a space where her nervous system can exhale. You're saying, without a word, you're safe here. You can stop pretending to be strong. For many women, a real hug is more than just physical. It's psychological. It's primal. It taps into the child in her that once found comfort in a parent's embrace. And when you offer that same feeling as a man, it creates a bridge from her past to your present. A kind of emotional sanctuary, Oxytocin gets released, the bonding hormone. Her heartbeat slows, her guard drops. Suddenly, you're no longer just the guy she dates. You're the man she feels safe melting into. And here's the twist. She won't ask for this. She'll keep pretending she doesn't need it. She might even pull away at first. Not because she doesn't want it, but because she doesn't expect it to feel real. That's why the way you hug her matters. Don't pat her back. Don't rush it. Hold her. With both arms, with stillness, with presence, as if there's nowhere else you'd rather be. Because in that moment, there isn't. A real hug says what 10 compliments can't. I accept you, not for what you do, but for who you are, right now. Think about that. How often do women actually feel that way in a relationship? Not useful, not beautiful, not smart. Just held. When you give her that without expectation, without commentary, without trying to fix anything, you become the rare man who knows how to hold space. And that's the kind of man she'll crave coming back to. So the next time she walks through the door after a stressful day, don't ask how it was. Don't analyze. Don't fix. Just pull her into you. Tight, slow, present. Let your breath match hers. And in that stillness, give her the one thing she can't buy, can't demand, and can't fake. The feeling of being wrapped in something stronger than her fear. Let's move on to thing number 3. Because now we're going to talk about the one move that separates ordinary men from unforgettable ones. Thing number 3, flirt with her, not like a boy trying to get lucky, but like a man who sees her soul and knows exactly how to spark her fire. Most men think flirting is just cheesy lines, compliments, or playing it cool. But real flirting, the kind that makes her knees weaken and her mind race, is something very few men master. Because flirting isn't about what you say. It's about how you say it. It's about knowing when to lean in and when to pull back. It's the smirk, the pause, the eye contact that holds her for just half a second longer than usual. Enough to say, I see you, and I like what I see. Flirting, when done right, does one thing. It makes her feel alive, not just desired, but noticed. Not just beautiful, but seen. It's not just about attraction. It's about validation. You're reminding her she's still a woman, not just someone's partner, someone's mom, someone's employee. Here's what you need to know. Most women secretly crave flirtation in their relationships, but they'll never say it. Why? Because if they have to ask for it, it kills the magic. When you flirt with her without prompting, you tell her, you still excite me, you still light me up, and I still want to chase you. You want to be unforgettable? Make her feel like the most magnetic woman in the room when she's just wearing sweatpants. Compliment her mind when she expects you to comment on her body. Playfully tease her in the kitchen. Whisper something bold in her ear when you pass her in the hallway. Not because it leads to anything, but because it keeps the pulse of desire alive. And here's the secret. Flirting isn't just for the early stages. It's what keeps long-term attraction from dying. It's the difference between a relationship that feels like a routine and one that feels like a game only the two of you know how to play. Now listen closely. If she used to flirt back but doesn't anymore, that's not rejection. That's her saying, make me feel again. Show me it's still safe to play. Be that man, the one who never stops flirting with his woman, the one who doesn't need a reason or a response, because he flirts to give, not to get. And remember, the most powerful flirting is subtle, the kind that makes her smile after you've left the room, the kind that lives in her thoughts for hours, the kind that makes her feel like a woman in a world that keeps demanding she be everything else. Let's move to thing number 4. This next one? It's the most underrated gesture of masculine leadership you've probably never even thought of. Thing number 4. Place your hand on her back and say absolutely nothing. You want to know one of the most powerful ways to make a woman feel safe, seen, and secretly turned on, all at once? It's not what you say. It's not a grand gesture. It's a quiet touch, at the right moment, with the right energy. Imagine this. You're walking through a crowd. She's slightly ahead of you. You place your hand gently on the small of her back, not to control her, not to guide her, but to say, "I've got you. You're not alone. I'm right here." That one silent touch, it speaks volumes. And here's what most men miss. This isn't about physicality. It's about energy. It's your way of saying, without words, "I see you. I'm present. You can lean on me, even in silence." Women don't just respond to words. They respond to presence, to the subtleties, to the unspoken. And a hand on her back, that's one of the oldest, deepest signals of masculine protection and connection. It's primal. It activates oxytocin, the bonding hormone. But more than that, it calms her nervous system. Because in that touch, she doesn't feel dominated. She feels claimed, emotionally, energetically. And before you freak out about the word claimed, understand this. To a woman, being gently claimed by a man she trusts is not oppression. It's relief. It's coming home. But here's the catch. If your energy isn't grounded, if your intention isn't clean, she'll feel that too. Because women are emotional detectives. They don't just hear you, they feel you. So when you place your hand on her back, it must come from centering, not seeking. From grounded calm, not needy desire. It's not about initiating something physical. It's about initiating trust. And the beauty is, you don't have to say anything. You don't have to check in or explain. Your touch says it all. And if you get it right, she'll lean into it. She'll feel it in places no words could ever reach. You want to be the kind of man who silently calms her storm with just your hand on her back? Here's how. Step 1, slow down. Step 2, be present. Step 3, touch with intention, not force, not urgency, just calm certainty. Most women never ask for this. They're not even aware how much they crave it until they feel it and realize how rare it is. Be the man whose touch says, "I've got you." Not just when you're smiling, but when you're stressed. Not just when you're sexy, but when you're soft. Because the men she forgets are the ones who talk a lot. But the men she remembers are the ones who knew when to say nothing and let presence do the talking. Now let's move to thing number 5. It's the single bold move that separates lovers from protectors and reveals everything about your value as a man. Thing number 5, share your dreams with her before she ever asks. Most men don't get this. They think being the rock means being silent, stoic, unshakable. But here's the truth. When you never let her see your fire, she starts to wonder if there's anything burning inside. Because while she may love your strength, what she craves is your vision. She wants to feel where you're going. Not just what you're doing now, but what you're building for later. Your mission, your madness, your quiet obsession with something bigger than both of you. And no, it's not about impressing her with goals or financial plans. It's about intimacy through imagination. Because when you share your dreams, you're not just revealing what you want. You're revealing what drives you. And that's where emotional connection begins. Here's the kicker. Most women won't ask. Not because they're not curious, but because they want to feel invited, not interrogating. And when you invite her into your dreamscape, unprompted, unforced, something shifts. She stops seeing you as just the man in front of her and starts seeing you as the man going somewhere. That's attractive. That's magnetic. Even if the dream is messy, unfinished, unrealistic, it doesn't matter. What matters is the passion behind it, the why behind the vision, the glimmer in your eye when you talk about what could be. You see, most women don't fall in love with plans. They fall in love with purpose. And if you don't share yours, you leave her emotionally homeless in the relationship. This doesn't mean you need a 5-year strategy deck. It means you say things like, "I've always wanted to build something that outlives me. Someday, I want to create a space where men feel safe to grow. I can't explain it, but I feel called to do something more. Let her hear that. Let her feel that. Not so she can fix it, not so she can fund it, but so she can believe in it with you. That belief? It becomes the invisible thread that binds her heart to yours. And here's the wild part. The more she believes in your dream, the more she falls in love with the man behind it. So don't wait until she asks, "What are you passionate about?" Don't force her to dig. Don't make her wonder if there's anything more to you than what she sees on the surface. Give her the map to your mind. Let her walk with you, not just through today, but towards something bigger. Because when she sees a man not just surviving, but building, dreaming, burning with purpose, she stops doubting where this is going and starts dreaming with you. Now let's move on to thing number 6. And this one? It's where emotional intelligence becomes your greatest power or your biggest blind spot. Thing number 6. Notice her mood before she has to explain it. This might be the most underestimated skill a man can have, the ability to read her energy, not just her words. Because here's the truth. By the time she tells you she's upset, frustrated, or disconnected, you're already late. Women don't always communicate emotions the way men do. They leak, they shift, they signal, in her eyes, in her silence, in the way she moves around you. Most men, they wait for the blow-up. They miss the quiet signs. Then they say, "Why didn't you just tell me?" But the real question is, why didn't you notice? This isn't about mind reading. It's about attunement. It's about being the kind of man who's so present, so connected, that he picks up the emotional frequency before it becomes a storm. She sighs more. She laughs less. She's quieter after work. Her responses get shorter. These aren't mood swings. These are invitations. Invitations to care, to check in, to see her. Now here's what most men fear. If I ask, I'll just make it worse. No, if you ignore it, you make her feel invisible. And that's worse than any wrong guess. So when you sense something is off, say it simply. "Hey, I feel like your energy's shifted. You okay?" Not as a challenge, as a mirror. A reflection that says, "I notice and I care." You don't need to solve it. You don't need to pull answers from her. You just need to hold space. Because sometimes the most powerful thing a woman can feel is this: my man sees me, even when I'm silent. And if you think this only matters during conflict, think again. Noticing her moods on normal days? That's how emotional trust is built. That's when she stops saying, "I'm fine," and starts saying, "Here's what I'm really feeling." Here's the beauty. The more you attune, the more relaxed she becomes. The safer she feels expressing, the less you'll have to decode in the future. But remember, it starts with you, your awareness, your emotional leadership. Don't wait for the emotional emergency to tune in. Be the man who leads prevention, not damage control. And if you get this right, she won't just trust you more, she'll respect you more. Because real masculinity isn't reactive, it's perceptive, it's present, it's quietly powerful. Now let's move to thing number 7, because this final one is the simplest, but it just might be the most transformative of all. Thing number 7, she wants you to stand up for her, without her having to ask. She doesn't want you to start a fight. She doesn't need a hero complex. But deep down, every woman wants to feel that when the world turns cold, the man beside her won't flinch. Not because she's weak, but because when a man quietly, calmly takes a stand for her, it tells her everything she needs to know about her place in his world. It's not about being loud, it's about being solid. Picture this. Someone makes a disrespectful joke. It's subtle, easy to ignore. Most men do. They laugh awkwardly, pretend it didn't happen. But the high-value man, he doesn't laugh. He looks the other person in the eye. And with nothing but presence in his voice, he says, "That's not cool." That moment, that 2-second pause, says more than any grand speech ever could. It says, I see her. It says, she matters. It says, I don't let people cross lines around me. And here's the twisted irony. She'll never ask you to do this, because the moment she has to, the magic breaks. She starts wondering if she's standing next to a man or just another spectator. And no, it doesn't have to be public conflict. Standing up for her can be as simple as correcting someone who keeps cutting her off in conversation, or backing her up when someone doubts her competence. It's not about defending a damsel, it's about honoring your queen. Women crave this because it speaks to a primal truth: security, protection, belonging. In a world that constantly challenges them, questions them, gaslights them, overlooks them, they long for a man who doesn't add to the noise, but silences it when needed. And no, not every woman will admit this out loud. Some will even say, I can handle myself. And they can. But that doesn't mean they don't ache for someone who chooses to stand beside them anyway. Someone who doesn't act because she's helpless, but because he's anchored. This kind of loyalty is rare. This kind of presence is unforgettable. And once she feels it, she'll associate that safety with you, forever. So next time you're faced with a moment to either stay quiet or step in, even in the smallest way, ask yourself, am I making her feel alone or protected? Because when a woman knows you'll stand for her in the small things, she'll trust you with the big ones. And that's when her walls come down. That's when the bond deepens. That's when she starts to look at you, not just as a partner, but as her sanctuary. And now you see the full picture. These 7 things: a massage, a warm hug, a flirtatious spark, a hand on the back, sharing your inner world, reading her subtle signs, and standing up for her. They aren't just romantic gestures. They're psychological triggers. Each one is a quiet test, a silent invitation. And when you respond the right way, without her needing to spell it out, something shifts. She stops second-guessing you. She softens. She trusts. Because here's the truth. Women aren't as complicated as the world makes them seem. They just operate in a language most men were never taught: subtlety, nuance, and emotional fluency. But now, you speak the language, you see the signs, and more importantly, you understand what they mean. And that makes you dangerous. Not reckless, not manipulative, but dangerous in the way every high-value man should be: clear, confident, and completely in control of the emotional terrain. So here's the final test. Which one of these 7 things are you already doing? And which one have you been blind to? Comment below. I see it now. If something finally clicked. Or, I've done that before. If you recognized yourself in this. And if you want more strategies like this, ones that cut through the noise and get straight to the psychology, subscribe. Because this is just the beginning. Let's rewrite the game on your terms.